Mortality, the one thing guaranteed in life other than taxes. Sangat ji, welcome to the Kirtan 5 podcast. In this episode, we have a remote conversation with Bhai Parminder Singh ji in Australia. I'm thrilled to be able to share this conversation with you. Having worked with Veerji on the recent album release as well as getting to know them during the course of this podcast, all I can say is that they continue to be an inspiration to not only myself, but also to many of you too. He is a very deep and reflective person, and this conversation I feel is absolutely just Veerji in his natural state and his lovely personality shining through. We discuss his childhood, how he got into Kirtan, his motivations in life, his many active projects such as his YouTube channel and the Khalsa Phulwari brand, as well as discussing other things such as artificial intelligence and Sikhi. Please forgive us for any mistakes and drop a like and a comment with feedback to help grow this podcast. Here is Bhai Parminder Singh ji. Waheguru ji ka khalsa, Waheguru ji ki fateh. So Sangat ji, I'm here with Bhai Parminder Singh ji, Australia. So currently we're looking at 10:30 at the evening time in the UK. And Bhai Parminder Singh ji, what time is it over in Australia right now?
It's morning. It's about 7:30. It's the time when actually I'm already at work. And
oh, blimey. Okay, yeah.
I start really early. I start at 7 usually. And it's a special day for me today, so I'm going to start playing.
Is that because of the podcast, or is that just a special day because of your birthday or something?
Of course. No, it's of course because of this podcast.
Okay, no, thank you, Veerji. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time, and I do apologize. The last time we sat down to talk, I missed the schedule that we had because I got messed up with the hour
time
conversion.
Zone.
Yeah, the time zone. So my bad. I do apologize. But one thing I really wanted to just start with was just appreciation. The session that we recorded off the back of the album that's just been released in the end, which is the title of the album, KF70, which is a Kirtan 5 catalog number. It's available now on the Bhai Parminder Singh ji's channel and also on the Kirtan 5 channel and also on all audio streaming platforms. If you just search Bhai Parminder Singh ji's profile, you'll see it there. And one thing I really wanted to just show appreciation for was on that day in December when Bhai Sahib ji came to Manchester, they literally just got off the plane. And I think you had like 2 or 3 hours rest from like is it like literally a 24-hour flight? Isn't it, from like Australia?
Yeah, it's about that, yes.
Yeah, so you were like proper knackered. You were proper tired. I remember, and I felt really bad. But you were like, no, we have to do this. We're going to do this. And then, you read, you did 3 Shabads. And then you also obviously had the full Smagam, the Manchester Smagam as well, which is like spanned over 3 days, I think. That you were there for.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you, Veerji, for that. I really appreciate that. And again, thank you to all the Keertani and the instrumentalists that were involved in that. So I think what would be lovely, Veerji, is just to start with your childhood. So let's talk about how you grew up. Do you have any siblings? Do you have any brothers or sisters? What does mum and dad look like? And obviously, you're from Punjab, obviously, but you ended up in Australia. And how did that happen? So let's start with your childhood first.
Sure. I was born and brought up in a very hardworking family, and it was my mother who had this love for Gurbani and Kirtan and Sikhi, who really encouraged me to get into this, Sikhi way of life. So she always told me that why I'm here, the purpose of life. She gave me the purpose of life.
Wow.
And that really motivated me throughout my life. So it's the words of my mother. And when I grew up, as I told you, there was a Gurdwara on our street, and I used to go there every day, and then there was an Amrit Vela announcement every day would happen, and Bhai Sahib would recite Panjbani and Nitnem, and even today when I wake up, I have the same sound running in my ears every morning, because it was so deeply connected, and I feel like it will always be with me. Me and my friend used to go to Gurdwara every evening, and because there was a big lock on the doors of the Gurdwara, and there's a specific time the Gurdwara would open, the opening hours. and me and my friend will wait there. We will go there as soon as the Gurdwara will open. We're gonna jump onto the saaz and start practicing.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have the saaz at that time, so we would use Gurdwara saaz, harmonium and tabla, and we would sit there for hours and hours. And sometimes we will ask Bhai Sahib to give us the key and allow us to go to the Gurdwara outside of opening hours so that we can do some practice. So we would sit there hours and hours, and then I would start exploring Amrit Kirtan and start looking at the new Shabads, new tunes. So that's how it all started, basically. I felt like this is it. This is I am here for, and that's the purpose of life. So that's how I got into. I found my I won't say passion. I would say the food for my soul, basically. And there was some Gursikhs in the area who would take me to these Ransbais and local Kirtan Samagams where I would go, and they will encourage me to do the Shabad, and that actually motivated me to do new Shabads every time, and the new Prakarans, new Shabads, and according to, and then it became sort of a normal thing for me that I want to do something new. I want to present something new to the Sangha, to the Guru Sahib.
Anji.
And yeah. So basically that's how it all started. So the personality development, or how a person become, there are a whole lot of things that decide the surroundings, and the area you born and brought, and the family, the mother and father's contribution. So yeah, baki jithe Guru Sahib ne rakhna.
Hanji, bilkul, yeah. And I think I certainly see those traits actually in your practice, actually, as a father as well. Because obviously we'll talk about Khalsa Phulwari and all that, all those other projects you're involved in. But I certainly feel that actually as somebody looking from the outside and not really knowing you personally, but obviously hopefully Guru Sahib ke Padanal now, getting to know you better, and the Sangha getting to know you better, I feel like you definitely have those traits. So I think I can see that playing out actually from your childhood all the way, how your parents brought you up. So whereabouts in Punjab was it that you lived, Veerji, when you were a kid?
I was brought up in Jalandhar Shahar.
ठीक है जी. And is the family still there, or are they all spread out across the globe as you are?
Yeah, you're correct. So it's spread across the globe. We are like an international family here at the moment. Of course, my parents are there.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So how did you end up in Australia then?
Look, I always wanted to go to England.
Really?
When I was growing up, because all our my brother was there, and of course my paternal families, my family members from my mother's side, they all are in England, and when they would visit us when I was growing up, they would have this nice smelling perfumes, deodorants, and they would bring me chocolates and some gifts, and I was like, oh, how it must be really beautiful and nice place over there. And they would bring some photos, and we would always talk about how clean this place is, and how, that sort of stuff. So I always had a dream of go to England, and I did.
When was this, Veerji?
This was in 2005.
2005. Okay.
2005.
Yeah.
And
what did you study?
Bachelor of Computer Applications, bachelor's degree.
Where did you work in the UK? What were you doing in the UK? Is it like an IT job or IT support or like proper coding stuff?
I tried many things. It was that time when you try to find what you're actually gonna be doing the rest of your life.
Hanji, yeah.
That was that time, and basically I worked. The most time I spent there was working as a assistant to an engineer, a construction engineer, and then there was some experiences, and then I came back. Yes, let's leave it that way.
Fair enough.
And then I came back. Then I thought, I'm not gonna go back. I'm gonna stay in India, and I started looking for other opportunities, and then wanted to pursue my studies. And Australia was a hot destination back in that time. All my friends were, going to Australia, and I thought, well, let's explore that. So I left India for Australia at that time for my master's degree.
Acha ji.
I knew that I need to do more in terms of education, and my father always encouraged me to get a good job. Basically, that was as usual.
Yeah, usual.
That's a usual thing. I got in computers in IT then.
Amazing. Okay, awesome. And then at some point, obviously, you probably got married. Is that when you were in Australia, or then when you were in Punjab, and then you moved, or?
So when I came to Australia, I was searching for Sangat, Divans, Kirtans, especially the Sangati Kirtan that we do, Akhand Kirtan Jatha. And I was looking for Sangat, and Sangat was looking for me, and at that time, for some reason. And then, of course, Gur Sahib di Kirpa de naal, and then here I met Bhai Jagjit Singh, Bhai Parminder Singh, and many other Gursikh Pyare.
So you mentioned that when you were a child, you used to go to the Gurdwara, and then you used to just try and get to the Saj along with your friend, and essentially basically just do Kirtan in the Gurdwara Sahib. So what does your Kirtan journey look like? Like, who trained you? Did you have any training? Like, how did you learn Kirtan when you were young? And then I guess, how did you then maintain that or study Kirtan as you were growing older?
So I mentioned about the Gursikh Pyare in my area, in my town, and they were like angels came to my life. They would take me to smagams, and there was a Gursikh, his name was Harpreet Singh Sodhi. He would listen to my Kirtan when I was young. I was like, you need to start learning, man, because I can see you can become a Keertani. And I said, okay, well, I haven't thought about it. I tried, but he said, okay, I'm going to take you to Professor Parmjot Singh. He was a disciple of Bhai Parminder Singh. He was a student.
Right.
He started taking me there, and we used to go there maybe once or twice a week, take lessons. And Professor Sahib was very glad to see me, like we had a connection already, and he started teaching me, and I felt the same way. And then he taught me all the lessons, all the rags. When you go into that kind of environment, when you see other students are learning, when you go in a class, then you want to learn. You haven't actually done anything yet because there's so much more to do. So started learning the rags. So I think that was a turning point, and I was, I think, in year 7 maybe. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, I was very young and started learned about all the instruments like in Gurmat Sangeet andar, and yeah, it was an awesome experience.
So you trained classically essentially when you were young then? So you learned all the rags. Did you focus on Vajja? Did you train on Vajja or like vocals first, or?
I think it was a combination of things. It all goes hand in hand. So when I was young, the more focus was on Vajja. But then later on, of course, when I met Professor Sahib, my focus was then more on classical. And then he gave me some very useful lessons. Those lessons.
Yeah. So when it came to riyaz, then when you were young, like, did you used to do a lot of riyaz? Like, were you practicing daily? Like, was there a strict application from Ustad ji that you need to, like, make sure you practice on a daily basis?
No, just like any other teacher, he would tell me that riyaz is very important, and I would do riyaz anywhere and everywhere. I would do riyaz when I'm, used to on bike, on riding a bicycle, or whenever I find like I'm by myself in the house, and I'm gonna do the highest note I can touch that, and I'm gonna do uchi uchi as much as I can. So I would find basically any time in my schedule to do the riyaz at that time, and I miss that. I don't do that much riyaz now, but I think that was very helpful, that time that I spent.
That's amazing. So like, did you learn any other instruments? So you learned obviously vajra, you learned vocals. Did you learn tabla?
I started learning tabla, but I don't know, maybe I didn't practice enough, and I started learning violin, and I learned violin. Yeah, so when I used to go to Professor Saab's class, there were guys who would play Dilruba. I did take some lessons back then, but again, I didn't have the saaz, so I didn't do as much practice as I should be doing. Because these saaz, they are like sadhana, they're like bhakti, you know?
Yeah.
So you gotta spend time with these saaz. The saaz the soni, and they are all saaz are awesome. It's what matters is how you play it. And to be able to do that, you need to spend time with those saaz.
ठीक है जी. And so, what's your favorite instrument? Like, if you one that you play or one that you wish you could play. Like, what, do you have a favorite?
Again, as I said, all saaz are beautiful. It's about the sajanda, who actually plays the saaz, how you play it, But but I really like Dilruba and Sarangi. If they played nicely, if they played the way they should be, they are amazing saaz.
Anji, yeah. What's your favorite rag? Do you have a favorite rag?
I don't know. I think every set of surah, set of bandish, when you sing them, pura khub ke jinu kehndे हैं, like you go deep, you play, you sing, and when you become one with the Kirtan, doesn't matter what surah you are on, they're just, all of them are beautiful. There are some rags, of course, that you always like to play again and again, maybe because you've got good hold on the keys or something, but I think I like Pairavi, I like Kannada, Sri Rag, Sorat Rag. They all are awesome. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Hanji, yeah. That's wonderful. Do you have like a favorite Shabad, something that really resonates with you?
Again, I think there's no one Shabad that I would say it's favorite. It's
what are you vibing with right now? Let's go with that. What are you vibing with right now?
Vibing with I was listening to Bhai Parminder Singh ji on the other day, Vadda Mera Gobind. So that's the most fresh track that's running in my mind. But otherwise, I would say like it changes all the time. It's like Amali nu amal na mile to mar janda hai. So Keertani if a Keertani doesn't get to listen or perform to do the Kirtan, is dead. So it's like that. So and all Shabads are, sorry, back to the questions, all Shabads are amazing. Every Shabad has Upadesh, every Shabad connects you to Waheguru. So Bhai Parminder Singh Malawale, he would say Kirtan is like a hot wired connection direct to Waheguru. Basharte you are there, your mind is there, you're present there. Mentally, spiritual connection happens just like that. So that's the beauty of Kirtan, basically. It's instant connection with Waheguru.
When you obviously you attend a lot of Kirtan programs now, I guess, and you obviously travel quite far as well. So what's the furthest you've actually traveled? I guess you're all the way in Australia, so I guess the furthest you can probably travel is the US, right? Is it the US or is it UK maybe? Is there anything longer than 24 hours?
I think geographically Australia is far from any other country in the world, so it doesn't matter. So UK, US, Canada, America, everywhere you go, it's long haul flights.
Yeah.
And I guess you get into that mindset, you know, if you travel once a year or once in 5 years, you will feel that, that's a long flight to go. I'm not going to go. Or you will start thinking like that. But when you're going every 3 months or every 6 months, or even, you know, my average is about 2-3 months I do a trip, right? And I feel like that's normal for me. And you get used to it with these flights when you... And the strongest your why is, they said, right? The how is easy then, right? So it's like why you're going there. So even when you asked me to do the Kirtan after 24 hours flight to UK, and it was like, why I'm here? I'm here to do the Kirtan, to make sure that I do the seva and to get that spiritual experiences, right? So I can't run away from it. So I have to, you know, I need to do why I'm here. So it's the why that needs to be the strongest, and then you can do anything, you know. So then 2-3 hours sleep doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. When you did turn up to the Gurdwara Sahib, you were very laser focused. Like I was super surprised because we spoke on the phone when you were just getting the taxi back to Bhai Sabji's house, and then or wherever you were staying, and then. Yeah, I remember when you arrived at the Gurdwara Sahib, you were like super laser focused. You were like, "Chalo, let's get it done." I think we were recording Dr. G at the time, and then you came in, and then everyone was like, "Oh, Bhai Sabji's here now," and then it was very interesting, very interesting. Yeah.
I think, of course, the lack of sleep, or of course the physical tiredness is there, but then again. When you think like that, when you are in that mindset that why you are here, you need to do what you're supposed to do here. So that will take over everything else.
Hanji, yeah, for sure. Mind over matter, as they say, Hannah. So you've obviously traveled a lot. You've been around many different countries. You must have some funny stories. You must have something very, I guess, interesting that's probably happened to you. Do you have anything like that you could share with us?
There are many. It's just that there's so much going on that I don't remember many. But the most recent one was when I was traveling to India, and there was a Panji sitting next seat, and she had this baby playing with the iPad, and the baby was like, I want to watch Khalsa Phulwari video, and I was sitting next to him. I was like, I was watching, and I was like, you know, inside I was so happy that like this is all making a difference somewhere. Did
anybody know that you're like the creator behind it? Like, as in it's like your brand. Like, did they know that?
No, they wouldn't know that. And
that's insane.
It was just the joy that, you know, being there, enjoy the moment.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
What a lovely thing to experience. That's super amazing. I guess actually this is a great segue onto the next kind of part of like this conversation. So what actually inspired you to start YouTube? I think so. I checked your channel. So you started YouTube back in 2007. So you've been there since, like, I think YouTube started like around that time, didn't it? Like 2005 or something like that, or was it earlier than that? I can't remember. But you've been there. You've been there for a long time. So like, what inspired you to start at such a very early stage of when YouTube was around?
The most important thing I think to understand is the Guru Sahib's concept, Guru Sahib's teaching about Vand Chakna. I think that the same concept applies here.
Yeah.
That when you have a blessing or a daat given by Vaheguru, and you need to make sure that you share. So it's like that. The more you share, the more you grow, and that's the whole idea. So basically, I started uploading Kirtan, and I'm pretty sure no one can understand better than you, because you know that the more you share, it's like that. It's because you've been doing this for a long time as well, and especially when you're using high resolution, just to make sure that the experience that you want to make sure that other people can have. I think Vand Chakna the concept, it's like when you have something you share with other people. So that was the whole idea, me uploading Kirtan. And if I can do different styles, I can share that with Sangat. You never know. It's who's listening to your Kirtan, who's watching the videos, is, you know, it's making a difference in their life basically, and that's very satisfying.
I can imagine, because you used to do a lot of tutorials, I think, back in the early days, right? So you used to show like how to do Shabads on the Vajja.
It's a power been given to you that you can just turn on your camera and you know, record or say anything. And that's the whole idea of social media as well. It's not about gaining followers, subscribers. Honestly, I think it's about what do you have to say to the society, what do you have to contribute to the society.
Yeah,
what you are here for, do your responsibility.
Bilkul. Yeah, 100% agree with you. 100%. That's exactly why actually I started Keertan Pai. So very, very similar thought processes there, Veerji. So in terms of Kirtan, actually, you have a really, really lovely library of lots of different Shabads, lots of actual topical, you know, series and collections in your Khazana. So what are you working on at the moment? So I noticed right now, when this podcast comes out, you're going through Bara Mahine, like you're going through Bara Maha. So you're going through the 12 months and the Shabads associated with the season, according to Gurbani. So would you like to say anything about that? And what kind of motivates you to do that? It's quite unique.
I think, again, there is so much Kirtan out there, which is great, I think. But then what I feel as a Kirtani, then there are so many Shabads that haven't been sung yet by many Kirtanis. I feel like that I'll try to do that as much as I can. For example, Sukhmani Sahib in Kirtan Rupi, or all these Baniyan, Badiyan Baniyan in Kirtan Rupi, they were never been done before. At least on the media, it wasn't available. So, Mahari di Kirpa de naal, if that seva, if I can do that seva, why not? Basically, there are many banis at the moment that are in the pipeline, in the process, and hopefully that will be out soon. There's Chandi Diwar has been recorded, and that's happening. There's Shabd Hazare, and there's Bara Maha. There are so many other banis that are currently being recorded, and the music is being done, the videos are going. So many more projects are coming. So yeah.
No, it's wonderful to hear. Actually, one other request that we had was a 𝗖𝗛𝗦 as well. So I'm not sure if you've done that already or if it's in your backlog, but that's one that was requested by Sangat actually when I put out the flyer for podcast questions. So
it's there already on the channel. So
okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah. We have so much Khazana that sometimes I feel like Gursikh's one life is not enough to explore that much.
It's so true. Yeah, it's very true.
That's why Maharaj ne unhone to san banaya hi sikhya na, we are lifelong learners, right? So there's Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Bani, and then there's Dasam Bani, and then there's Sab Log Granth, and then there's Bhai Gurdas Ji Waran, there's Bhai Gurdas Ji Kabit, there's Bhai Nandlal Ji the Bani us to baad. And then after that there are so many Granths that's been written by various Gursikhs. There's so much history, there's so much to share basically. What I'm trying to say is that Gursikhs are doing what they can do, but Mari Kirpa Kare, the more needs to be done. And that was the whole idea of starting Khalsa Phulwari as well. Just from, it was the same basically thought process going on. There's so much gap there for kids. When I became a father, when my daughters were, they would watch Coco Melon or things like that, then I would, it struck my mind, no, that's not happening. I need to do something about it. So we started Khalsa Phulwari project from there.
And when did Khalsa Phulwari start? And also, how do you manage that? So like, it's like proper animations. It's really good quality animation, Sangatji, if you haven't watched it. So highly recommend checking out Khalsa Phulwari channel, and that will be linked in the description below. But yeah, so when did you start Khalsa Phulwari? Like what year, and then how do you manage that? So I'm assuming you have an animation team. Where are they based? How do you manage that?
Chalo Bhai di kirpa naal, I was into Kirtan, and I'm very blessed, very lucky to have 2 daughters who are into Kirtan as well. Right?
Wonderful.
And so as a team, team is there, right? So we started producing I started writing, and from music, and together we came up with this bunch of lyrics that we wanted to share with other kids, other families who were missing this kind of content. So, and then the lyrics there, the compositions there, the music's there. It's all in-house production. But what about the animation that we started, searching for the people, and of course, jiਵੇਂ ਚਲੋ ਤੁਰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਰਦਾ ਮਿਲਦਾ, ਉੜਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਉੜਦਾ ਮਿਲਦਾ, ਜਦੋਂ ਹਮਾਰੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ. So ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ I found a few people along this journey who helped me, and then I've got now a whole team who's doing animation for me, and together we producing these videos for Khalsa Phulwari for Sikh kids, for children, and we definitely want to take this to the next level. We just produced a 3D animation recently, and we wanted to do better every day. Basically, and Mari di kirpa naal, there are so many things that I've got written at the moment that I want to share with the Sangat on wale time de vich.
Oh, bilkul. Oh, it's amazing. I look forward to seeing all of that progressing, Bhai Sabji. That sounds honestly really amazing. So you actually received an award for Khalsa Phulwari as well, right?
Yeah, that was amazing, dude. That Sangat recognized this. Even the Jathedar of Damdama Sahib, they recognized this. There was a need of this kind of content, and then encouraged people like me by giving the award. So I'm very thankful, very grateful to Jathedar Sahib and Sangat and all the families who are, who motivates me, encourage me every day to make this kind of content. And as I said, there's so much I want to share with the Sangat for Gurmat Prasar and Prachar, and at the same time, it's a journey. Even the YouTube is just one aspect, but it's like a whole thing is a journey, right? For myself as well. There's so much to learn. It's a journey, and I'm so grateful. And let me tell you, there are so many lives. You asked me, like, there are so many lives I'm living, and I'm enjoying it so much. I'm being a father, being a husband, being a Keertani, being a content creator and cloud engineer. I work. I've got my own company that I'm running. So there's a whole team that I'm managing. So there are so many things happening in life, and it's beautiful. I'm very blessed, and I'm like living the life, living the dream.
Wow. And it's a very busy dream, that's for sure, Veerji. So like how do you manage all of these different arms? From a content creator perspective, I completely understand like all of the challenges that you must have faced, especially in the early days, and obviously still even then while you're trying to maintain content creation and putting out content regularly, which you do, all the social media interactions that you have to also do as part of that, release process that you have for each of your productions. So like, dude, when do you sleep?
To be honest, I'm just like any other human being, and I do require some sleep to function. And it's not like a boj, it's like more I'm enjoying it basically, and that's the beauty of it, and that's what got me going. I think the biggest motivation, Veerji, is ek din sovan hoyengo lambe good pasar, है ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੀ ਬਾਣੀ ਵੀ ਖਾਣਾ ਪੀਣਾ ਹੱਸਣਾ ਸੋਣਾ ਵਿਸਰ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਮਰਨਾ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
Jada marna hai na, there's a maut hai, jada death hai. That's the biggest motivation. I think now I'm at that point in the conversation where I can share with you one little thing, that when I was in UK, I sort of met the death, Hana. I saw death coming, and I can feel that Hajevi, that experience, that really gets me going every morning. I know that it's coming, the death is coming, it's there, it's with me, because death is part of life. We can't deny that, right?
So if I may ask, Veerji, can you talk us through, a top line, like what do you mean by that? So what was your experience that you had? Was it like a near-death experience or something? Or
like I mentioned before, I was working in a construction site, and I had this massive, accident at that point. And
were you hurt?
I was hurt really badly. I don't want to get into the details, but it was really bad. It was really bad. It was just, you can imagine, we were 2 people involved, and the other person died on the spot. So I survived by the Kirtan, and that's what got me. That gave me a push, basically, to my purpose. And that's how all these things are happening. That you're seeing people are watching these. Okay, you got Khalsa Phulwari, you got this channel, regularly content, there's a book that's coming, there's another book coming, and there's family, and you're running a company, you got this. The actual thing that is working behind this motivation it's not just a motivation, it's a lifestyle now. It's something that, that the realization, you are here to make a difference, to do your job as a father, as a husband, as a Keertani in the Sangat, as a writer, maybe as a composer, as a musician. So do your job. Alas na karo, don't get lazy. Just do what you're here for. Get out of your bed, do something. As long as this thought process will be there, I think things will keep coming out. I wish that day will never come when I stop working. So Mari Kirpa kare, so ye baniya rahe, ye ardas, and at the same time making sure that whatever you're doing, it's not you. There's something, there's a bigger purpose. You're just part of the whole process. You're a very tiny teensy dot in the whole universe. You're not even that, everyone here, like, you are putting Kirtan out there, or you got a purpose, right? You wanted to do something for the community. You wanted to share Kirtan in a different way. You started this YouTube channel, and even the whole idea of this podcast is to get together and let's talk and see if I can learn something out of this talk, and I can reinforce basically my purpose, my learnings, my experiences, my sharings.
Yeah. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, to be honest with you. I feel like I'm the one learning everything here, and the Sangat as well. So, sorry.
I think everyone who understands their purpose, it's the bigger purpose of life, basically, why we are here. We wanted to, where we come from, we wanted to go back. We want to mukh ujla leke jana darbar de vich. So we try to do things that we are supposed to do.
Yeah.
Again, jehdi main pehla gal kahi si, aje sunao samundar mein kya jano kya hoye, but there's a ardas. Ardas, that's when ardas comes in handy. Okay, now.
Yeah. Bilkul.
Tu rakh le mare.
So I think this makes actually a really interesting segue to actually the album that we just released. So in the end, when you kind of left the title to me, and I was surprised that you went along with it, to be honest. So I try and like do English titles so that it kind of, bring in a bit more Western kind of listeners and kind of anybody who doesn't really listen to Gurbani and kind of have a bit more of a kind of a simpler view on just like what's the theme of the Shabad. And obviously the Shabads that you recorded in this album are all based around mortality. you know, the fact that we are going to be called to the, you know, the Darbar, Dharmraj will come and take our liquor. So can we just talk about the Shabads that you sang? So we've got 3 tracks. So there was Truth, which was Nanak Akhe Re Mana Suniya Sikh Sahi. Then we had In the End, which was Chal Darahal Diwan Bulaya, which that one hits really hard. Like that hit me really hard, to be honest with you. When I was mixing and mastering that one, I was just like, I'll be honest with you, you kind of did bring me to tears on that one. And then there's Oh Father, which is Baba Abanaba So Ego. So if we can just maybe talk very few minutes just on each of those Shabads and why they resonate with you, or what your vichar is, because you're absolutely you're very interesting when it comes to vichar, because you obviously do a vichar vlog, and I really enjoy listening to those and watching those. So what's your take on those Shabads, Veerji?
My take on those Shabads is just like any Shabad basically in the Gurbani, they connect you to the truth. Gurbani connects you. It's the ultimate truth. And you can't deny again. It's the same thing that I'm repeating that I just said that before. That there's a limited time that you've got while you are here in this journey, and this journey is gonna end, and you meet with people on this journey, just like you imagine, like you're traveling right from from Sydney to or to Melbourne, and there's a train going, and then you meet people on the way. Some people will help you on the way. In this journey, there are some beautiful scenes, then there are some not so beautiful scenes when you look out the window, and then so it's like the life is just like that. It's a beautiful journey. You gotta enjoy it, first thing. Secondly, you gotta learn from your experiences, of course, and then the remaining journey that you have, you want to make it a pleasurable experience, basically. What kind of things that you are taking with you,
Hanji.
What is the purpose of the journey? Jithe jana hai uthe vaste. So tusi utte li saman ikkatha karke rakh lo apne vaste, and then by the time you get to the destination, if you realize that what you've been doing all this time during this journey has nothing to do with what your ultimate destination was, fir pachtawa hunda, and then there's a regret. But if you know that this is a journey, and you were born in a Sikh family, at least, chalo katto kat eh dekh lo,
Hanji.
And you know your purpose, why you're here, then and if you don't do the due diligence, if you don't do the Naam Jap, if you don't do the Kirtan, if you don't do the Gurbani, that's a very big mistake that you've made, Prani to aya laha lain lagga ke tuko fakade sa mukti challi rehna.
Hanji.
Have an example when you have like that account ch roz inne paise jama hunde, and then if you don't spend it wisely, next day the balance gets to 0, and then another amount gets into your account. It's like that, so we get 24 hours, and basically we need to make the most of this time. So these Shabads, they remind me why you're here, and that's the whole idea, Veerji. That's the whole reason.
No, thank you for sharing that with us. And I guess going back to kind of obviously making most use of your time, you've also written a book. Can you tell us about this book that you've written?
Same thought process that I shared earlier, that you have wonderful experience in life. Now you want to share that with the other people. And let's do it via writing a book. Let's do that via, creating a video and creating a vichar log. I've learned something new. Why not tell other people that I've learned something and it has made a difference in my life? Let's share that with you so other people can do that same. That's the whole idea of writing a book as well. And what I believe is like creativity is a guna of Vaheguru as well. I think it's because he's the creator.
Yeah. All creation is through the creator, right?
Yeah. So all creation is through the creator. So he's the creator. And when you are like creating something, that's like the ansh of Vaheguru is creating something, basically. You are just a body there, you're just a mean. I feel like that every director of the movie, every writer of a poem or a song or a book or a story, kite na kite, they have experienced this divine connection. Now, if they Haumedi Peet, Karari Jedi hai, the ego is je bahut zyada hai, to that's a different thing. But I think connection is there, basically.
Hanji, yeah. So
that's how I feel.
No, that's amazing. And so what's the name of your book, and what does it actually contain then? So like your learnings or like your vichars, what's the actual content basis of it?
The content of the book, it's a combination of things. There's the name of the book is Khem Khazana. Khem matlab khushiyan, very ultimate khushi hai. Happiness, the treasure of happiness, basically. It's a kind of motivational book, you can say. Genre dikana. But motivation from Gurbani, from my experiences. So yeah, so it's a combination of things. Everyone, I think, will find something for them in this book. Either you like poetry, or you just like to read the stories, or you like to read someone else's experience. So it's got a whole bunch of things, not just one thing.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And we'll leave a link in the description below, so Sangat ji, you better find it there. Is it in Punjabi and English, or is it just in Punjabi?
It's just in Punjabi at the moment.
Cool. Are you looking to translate it for fools like me to be able to read it? Although I can read Punjabi, it just take me a while.
Maybe, yeah, you can start. I don't know.
Read it over a process of a year.
Time will tell. Yeah.
Theek hai ji. We've talked about a lot of deep stuff here, so let's lighten the mood a bit. Obviously we should definitely think about Mort all the time, but I think it will be interesting to know, what are you currently listening to? So obviously you mentioned actually before you were listening to Ragi Bakshish Singh ji, Azuri Ragi, before, like what's your favorite 3 Keertani to listen to? And I'll caveat this. Before you answer. I'll caveat this. So whatever you say, no one's gonna hold you to account for it. Let's just say it's the 3 Keertani that you are listening to right now. Obviously, you listen to everybody.
There are so many Keertanis. I would listen to any Keertani, honestly, if as long as they are doing the Gurbani Shabad Kirtan in Sur and Tal. Even if they don't, if they have the right Bhavana, I would listen to them. But if I have to name, I would name Bhai Parminder Singh Srinagar Wali, because I used to listen to him all the time when I was in school, and then college. I mean, I would put Bhai Parminder Singh, Bhai Niranjan Singh the same category, and then Bhai Bakshish Singh. ਤੇ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਭਾਈ ਸਮੁੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ, ਭਾਈ ਸੁਜਾਨ ਸਿੰਘ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਕੀਰਤਨੀ ਹੈ ਹਨਾ, ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਸੋ ਆਈ ਲਵ ਟੂ ਲਿਸਨ ਟੂ देयर ਕੀਰਤਨ. I mean, ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਜੇ ਨਾਮ ਲੈਣੇ ਆ, so these are the names, but otherwise I listen to any Keertanis. They all are amazing.
So what are you currently learning? Like, is there anything that you're learning from a Keertan perspective? If it's a Raag, or if it's a Bandish, or a specific composition. What are you working on right now from a learning perspective?
From learning perspective, there's so much to learn, and I'm actually, I would say, revising Gaudi Raags at the moment.
Amazing. So I'm guessing we're going to probably hear some recordings coming out soon on your channel with Gaudi Raag at some point.
Definitely. Yes.
Awesome. If you could give your younger self any advice on Kirtan, now that you obviously have gone through the process and you're a lot older, what would that advice be?
I would say only one thing to my younger self: do more riyaz.
Okay.
That's never enough.
Yeah.
That's never enough.
That's a resounding theme actually on this podcast. Everyone's always asking, like the most asked question so far is from the Sangat is, how does everyone manage riyaz? When do you get time to do riyaz? Like, please ask the Keertani, how do I fit this in? And it's always interesting, because you always think that the most obvious answer would be as, well, you just have to make time, isn't it? But like,
you have to make time. Yeah, exactly. There are different ways, right? There are different types of riyaz as well. Like, what I would say is, there's a riyaz that you need to have a specific time that you need to have, sit and do the riyaz. That's one riyaz. But then other than that, if you don't get the time, just sing wherever you can, when you you know, there's a riyaz constantly going in your mind, right? Of course. But then there's vocal chords, and then there's a riyaz that you need to do. There's Gurbani practice, of course. So whenever you get time, whenever you get chance, I think just do it. I think, you know, commuting to work and coming back, I think when you are in the car, that's a really good time to do the riyaz. You know, just put a Kirtan on or some, you know, music on, and then just do the riyaz along with it. That's another good way to do it. I used to do it as well. So just that. I think one important thing is, if you love something, if you have passion for something, then I think you will make time for it. If you haven't made time for it, that means you probably haven't got enough passion for it yet. So they ardas karo, they kam karo, they work towards that, developing that sort of thought process. But I think if you want to achieve something, if you want to achieve a goal, if you are enough passionate about it, then you will make time for it. It goes with anything in life, you know?
Yeah. So kind of pivoting the conversation here quite abruptly, I guess. AI, artificial intelligence. So you're in the tech sector, you're a developer, you work on Microsoft Cloud products. What's your view on artificial intelligence from a general perspective, and then I guess from a Sikh perspective and being in tech? What's your opinion on that?
I think it's great. It's again another blessing to humanity if it gets used wisely. That's the key.
Yeah.
Because from Sikhi perspective, from Gurbani perspective, dekhna hai. At the same time, I guess it's very important for us to learn this. Just think about it, like when we didn't have phones, when we didn't have internet back then, before these things, and after these things came to our life, you know. We are doing this podcast, you're sitting, you know, how many miles away, and I can see you, I can hear you loud and clear. We are talking just like sitting next to each other. So that's the beauty of technology. So I really I embrace these kind of things. I'm a technologist. I love these things and how they are making difference in our life positively. Of course, there's positives and negatives of each thing, but that depends on how we want to use it. So I think, just like a knife, I give a very, very basic example. You can cut a sabji, you can cut a throat, so it's so extreme ho gaya. But I'm just saying that that goes with internet, that goes with AI, that goes with social media. So you got the tools, you got the utility. Just depends on how you use it, So AI is here, it's already there, it's already making difference, it's already people are taking advantage of it. And I think as a Sikh, as a Keertani as well, I think you can take advantage of it. You can create music, you can create animations, you can present, what you want to put out there on social media in a very creative way. So the tools are there now, and to save you time to do more with your time. So just a matter of learning it and learn it and make use of it, I would say.
That's an interesting point, though, I guess, because it depends not only obviously on the user, but I guess in certain AI applications and the technologies that are currently being worked on, it also depends on, I guess, the data set they use to feed the AI in order to then be smart, I guess, right? So I guess it also depends on the source material. So as an example, like if there's and I think this is probably something that's already in development. I certainly saw something a while back, but I think it got taken down. But there's a prompt where you literally like a chat GPT where you can ask a faith-based question, right, on Sikhi, and it will then spit out an answer, but it's very generic, but it's like neither here nor there. And so you have to be careful, I guess, because it's almost like 100%. It's an opinion, and it depends on where it gets that opinion from. But the idea of like 100%. AI and Kirtan specifically fascinates me, because I recently was playing around with this AI generative beat and music production solution. I forget the name, there's loads of them now, but like it was really interesting. You literally type in a prompt and it will basically create an entire song in that style. And I guess my imagination would be is that I'm sitting in front of some application and I type in sing me this Shabad, as in XY Shabad, with Bhai Parminder Singh ji Australia's voice in the style of 𝗖𝗛𝗦𝗧𝗪𝗧 Singh, and with a visual of Harmandir Sahib, you know, with the galaxy in the sky, something like that, right? In lo-fi. And then you hit enter, and then it literally emulates like your voice, because it's obviously trained because you've got plenty of content out there, so it knows who you are. And then it also knows who 𝗖𝗛𝗦𝗧𝗪𝗧 Singh ji is. It knows the Shabad because we've got like an entire database of the Shabad. And then it literally creates the video because there's plenty of videos of Sri Darbar Sahib and the universe. It's just insane, isn't it? Like, to think about that, that could literally be interesting. Where we be.
That's a very interesting perspective. I like that. Look, I think there's no harm doing that. The problem is when you are relying on it so much and thinking that this is the ultimate truth or anything like that. That's where the problem is, and that's why we need to be educated. That's why we need to understand what exactly it is and what it can do, and that's why it's important to to be up to date with technology, internet, AI, these things will be there, but at the same time we want to teach ourselves, our children as well, that holding a gutka in your hand, the importance of that, singing Gurbani Shabad by yourself, the importance of that, right? The satkar, how to maintain a satkar of Gurbani. You probably can't tell when a child is reading out of a mobile phone and you're doing the same thing and telling your children, and this is okay to do that. It's okay to do that when there's no gutka available, yes, but you need to tell your children that no, take the gutka, this is how you hold it. Before that, you wash your hands, you cover your heads. So those things needs to be taught, right? These things are important. So doesn't matter how advanced the AI is and everything, these things needs to be told. Gurbani da satkar ho gaya. One more thing very important to understand is that AI it can depict things that human does, but Gurbani da shabd hai, koi gawe ragi ne nadi bedi pant kar nahi har har pi jai ram raje. Yeah, there are so many other shabads basically that is sade vaste, they are for us, right? And an artificial intelligence application da gaya hoya shabad, that kind of
emotion,
feelings jehdiyan ek jehda sada connection and the what connection we, so there is always going to be the gap there, so that's what we need to understand.
That's an interesting point actually, because obviously, as you said, AI essentially doesn't have an atma, and obviously the Gore are like, thinking about this now. They're like, oh, what happens if it becomes sentient and it starts thinking for itself? It's like, okay, but like, when it happens to like ask for its own rights, and then you actually get artists which are completely AI generated, which I think actually exists right now, from a Western music perspective. So I think it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens, like, like with Indian classical music. I think that'll be interesting because there's loads of content there as well. And just the vocal inflections that you get from like in different rags and things, it will be interesting. And then obviously with Kirtan, it's just like, where'd you even start, right? But I think that's a really important point. You miss the connection of being human. And actually, further to that, I guess the Gorde also do know that, because you can't register, you can't put like an AI generated recording of music on Spotify, for example, or like Apple. So because the regulations are that it has to be done from a human so you can use like maybe a drum sample or like a tanpura or whatever electric, which is generated by AI, but the actual music production has to be done by a human. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how that goes through. I mean, I follow this stuff quite a lot, but just because it's interesting. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think it's very important to understand the importance of ਜਿਵੇਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ original authentic sources of information ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ. ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੋਰੇ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, if we talk about Sikh history, if we don't have, if someone never read or looked at, let's say, Prachin Panth Prakash or read the original copy of it, and if someone AI with AI's help they put it out there, this is the actual Prachin Panth Prakash with the whole milawat in it, with the mix, I think that's dangerous, of course. But that's why, of course, laws needs to be made, and they're probably catching up as well, but they're always slow.
yeah but, that's probably by design, though, to be honest with you, isn't it?
Exactly. So that's why I think this is where the education is so important.
Anji, yeah, that's an interesting point, actually, because like with deep fake technology as well, like actually I was just thinking while you're saying that about the Panth Prakash, what happens if like you get a Katha Vachik in their voice, they're literally doing Katha, and you could do the video as well, because you get deep fake videos, right? So you can make a Gyani say anything that you want them to, something obscene, which is against Sikhi, and then everyone's like, what did he just say? And he's like, I never said that. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So educate yourself and see the authenticity of the information. It's very important.
I guess that's where trusted sources come in. So your channel, Keertan channel, anyone else's channel that you recognize as a reputable brand who's not going to be messing around.
Yeah, but I don't think so, because if someone hacked my channel tomorrow and put something,
that's a good point. Yeah,
that's not authentic anymore. So I think that's where the role of big organization comes in, right? And I'm not saying that they needs to do everything, but I think that's where SGPC or these kind of organizations need to step in and have their stamp or validate stuff in. And how is that going to happen? If we have educated Gursikhs in those roles, in those places where they're leading the youth of the country and the community. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we always should be playing blame game or put everything on them, that they need to do everything. It's not like that. It's every individual responsibility as well.
Hanji, yeah. No, it's a really interesting conversation. Thank you for sharing your view on that. So Veerji, I guess to wrap up then, do you have any words of wisdom for the Sangat? Anything that you'd like to share on top of already the massive amount of jewels that you blessed us with today? Is there anything that you'd further like to conclude with?
Look, being out on social media there and as a content creator or the different roles that I'm playing, I think I would say one thing that also come out of the Shabads that we sing, right? The Arth, that it's very important that to understand the importance of time. Don't waste it. Don't waste on just scrolling endless media, social media, what they want to show you. Don't just unconsciously scroll. Just and it's a mind controlling technique, of course, that all that sort of things comes in. But I think it's important to understand the value of time, importance of time, and then align with your purpose, your Gursikhi purpose, a bigger purpose. Guru Sahib di Bani de anusar, follow Guru Sahib's path, what Gurbani is saying to you. But this is what I would say.
Okay, amazing. Thank you.
Use your time wisely.
Hanji. Yeah, no, that's a fantastic piece of advice. I think everybody can absolutely resonate with that. You don't have to be Keertani to be able to resonate with that, for sure. So one thing I'd like to start with you actually as a trend on this podcast, which I've pinched from another famous podcast from a Western side, is if you could ask the next podcast guest a question without knowing who that is, obviously, because the schedule of podcasts is all over the place at the moment. So I don't know who the next podcast guest is going to be, but if you had a question for them as a Keertani, what would it be?
I'd be interested to know how they are doing their riyaz. And I would love to learn from them.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time. You've obviously jumped on really early for this call. I really appreciate that. And Sangaji, I know you will appreciate this conversation as well. Please drop your comments and likes below, any feedback for us, what you would like to see next time. Undoubtedly, hopefully, Guru Sahib Ji Kripa and I will have another conversation. Hopefully that conversation will be in person next time when eventually you do make it to the UK. There was actually one question before we go. When are you planning to go to the US? Because the US Sangat are asking. So do you have any plans in the rest of 24 to go to the US?
There have been few invitations came through this year, and I haven't made a solid plan yet. It's on my list, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you, Veerji. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
So did you
One
used to
thing
do
I
a lot
want to say, Bhai Sahib, we decided to do this interview in English. I'm trying my best, but I know I'm not that great, but I'm trying.
No, this is great. I'm
please
loving this,
pardon
me. Yeah, you know, the only thing that I'm finding difficult is the lag. That's the only thing that I'm finding difficult. Because when you're talking, there's a lag in the Wi-Fi. Because I'm on Wi-Fi, you're probably on Wi-Fi, so there's just a bit of lag. So if I say something and it interrupts your next sentence, it's probably because of the lag. So I'm trying to let you talk, basically. So don't worry, Veerji, this is fantastic. Are you feeling okay? Are you happy with how we're going? Yeah?
I'm fine, but I don't know if I'm getting the message across.
I think it's fantastic. No, Veerji, this is great, man. I'm loving it. I think this is great. Honestly, relax. This is so good.
Is my English just like your Punjabi, or is it any better now?
Your English is way better than my Punjabi, man. Like, seriously. If you had a question for them as a Keertani, what would it be?
It's a tough one.
It is an obscure question. No, that's not the one. That's not what I wanted to say. I was just going to say, how do we conclude? Okay, cool.